is Salt Spring Gallery's interviews. We're interviewing right now. Right now, interviewing the wonderful Cheryl Long, and we have her art in the back right here. You can see some of her art. Wonderful. So I have a few questions for you. The first question would be about the title. The title of the show is translation. So what do you feel in the paintings that you're showing at this September show and in your September series? What do you feel you're translating, and how are you translating?
Yeah, such a good question, and I've been thinking about it a fair amount. There's such passion and power and elemental intelligence in the landscape and in nature, and I can demand answers from it. Unfortunately, I feel like I need to be a witness rather to it, and I find that probably the most important thing in painting for me is humility, like knowing, just sort of laying myself at the feet of the landscape and asking for something, anything, to come forward that I can try to bring into form. So the translation part would be coming from something really indecipherable, something formless that I'm trying to bring into form, which is like a bit of a challenge, right? And the strange thing is that I kind of hear, and I ascribe sound to colors. So when I'm painting, I'm remembering where I took the photograph that I'm working from. I'm remembering all the sounds and what it felt like to be there, but mostly I'm kind of hearing something, but not in the way that you normally hear things. It's like a different kind of hearing. And so when I'm painting, sound is a really important thing. And so I'll say to someone, "Oh yeah, well I heard this feeling when I was there, and it seems really weird, but there it is." Artists are weird anyway, so that's something, or they should be weird. So I guess the translation is very mysterious, and it's more of an allowing rather than an action or a verb.
It's very thorough answer to the question. Thank you. Very generous. Another question would be, what led you to be a painter and to paint? And how long have you been painting for?
I haven't really been painting that long, and I was just laughing the other day because I haven't even taken an oil painting class ever. So I have no idea what I'm doing, which is a good thing for me, because otherwise it wrecks it up. If anybody tries to teach me anything, I'll just obediently follow along.
Aries, like instructions.
Yeah, you're an Aries too, so you don't like instructions, even to our own detriment.
Oh God.
So what led me, so when I was young, and I was always drawing, of course, I was always into art, but I wanted to be an illustrator. I loved illustrating, and I loved Arthur Rackham and all these old-time illustrators. And so I set out to become an illustrator and graphic designer, and that's what I was for 35 years.
Wow.
And then when my kids grew up and left the nest about 8 years ago or so, I left home and I came out west, and I photographed all kinds of at provincial parks and national parks. And I guess it's just a midlife crisis. I went, I got to be doing something new now. What is that? And so I wanted to remember how awesome the world was and how magnificent it is. And so going across Canada like 7 or 8 times in the last 10 years, did that. And I took a bunch of photos, but I didn't realize at the time that I would be painting them progressively for maybe the rest of my life. Who knows?
Just describe maybe the first time you picked up the brush and something like?
Yeah, well, I had never tried oils before. I had painted briefly with acrylics in my 30s. So I got a couple of tubes of oil, and I thought, oh, people keep saying this is great. I'm going to try it. So I tried it. I was also a massage therapist, by the way, so oil I love. Anyway, it just opened this whole new world, the smoothness and the organic forms in my paintings. Oil lends itself really well to that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was the first diving into it was a really good experience.
Earth shaking.
Wow.
For me. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it just changed everything.
Incredible. Thank you. Yeah. Another good, generous bunch of answers to that last question. What would you consider being your biggest challenge being a oil landscape painter?
Probably it's getting out of my own way. Like I tend to. My work has a lot of interesting shapes and figures and creatures and elements that come out of the landscape and unexpectedly seeming. And so my biggest challenge is to not go in too early and try to make shapes happen. Like, oh, that looks like a whale, or this is going to look like this, and I see a wing here. If I start doing that, it becomes contrived and it just doesn't work at all. It kills it. So I got to wait and not let the shapes come out on their own really late in the process after I've really paid attention to the shadows and the depth and everything in the photograph.
Oh, right.
Then I let them come up and I try to keep the brain out of there dictating what it should look like or what it looks like. So often I'm surprised by what the shapes are and what they look like because I didn't plan on it, right? And because I was a graphic designer for 30 years or so, you know, my brain automatically wants to go with, well, what are people going to want to see? What's the marketplace need to see? Yeah, so I had to get out of that tendency also. But I must admit, being a graphic designer for so long, also like composition, it gave me a lot of confidence as far as composition goes. Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. And do you have a sense of where your art is leading you? Or do you have visions about where your art is going?
It's a hard question because I'm at that point right now where I finished a big series of BC Undergrowth and I'm still trying to work my way into the next thing. And it's funny because I don't know if everybody feels like that, maybe that you do too, but it's like there's these images bubbling around in here and I can feel them and I get glimpses of them and they're sort of like, I've always had a thing about icebergs, but they're more like spirit forms or something in the landscape, in unlikely landscapes, you know, like Saskatchewan or southern Alberta, these white shapes, and I don't know quite what they are yet, but something's coming. And so I get little glimpses of them and I get really excited about it, and then I think I'm going to try and, you know, start to do them, but they're not ready yet. It's almost like something's baking in there and it's half baked at this point. And I got to wait for it to be ready to pop out of the oven. That sounds like a baby, but you know what I mean? They have to be ready to be manifested, and it's such a gentle thing. It's such a gentle thing. You can't force it, right?
No. Yeah, incubating.
It just leads to frustration. So I'd like to really try to simplify and be more and more truthful in regards to how I interpret something. I guess truthful would be, I don't even know if that's my truth or the landscape's truth or a combination of both. I think maybe the truth of my relationship with the landscape. But every time I say I'm going big, bold, simple, it gets more and more complicated.
You told me that.
Yeah, so like maybe I'll say I'm gonna get really super complicated. You know, just minute little details, and we'll see what happens.
But you do some simple work. There's this one right here. It's of ocean. No, it's lake. Is that the ocean?
No, that's Haida-Gwaii. Yeah, that's
Haida
the ocean,
Gwaii.
Haida-Gwaii.
Very simple.
But you know what? That was my first painting. So.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much. And
welcome.
wow, I mean, you answered that one very usefully. Like no sweat, nothing. So yeah, and so yeah, I really encourage everybody to come see the show mid-September. September 16th is the opening.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fun here at the opening. It's very relaxed. There's no big snobbish. It's really relaxed and fun. So come over and come and check her new stuff. It's gonna be pretty exciting. And if you've seen the video, I think it's going to give more, even more dimension to what you're going to see. So thank you for watching.
Bye.